All right, so week 8 of the NFL season is coming to a close, and for the Chicago Bears, they take not embarrassing loss, but I say a pretty brutal loss to the San Francisco 49ers. This video, just like the rest, I'm gonna give you all grades for offense, defense, special teams, play calling. So without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video, back at it with another recap video. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because there's a considerable amount to recap, but there's also some things that should be obvious. Starting with the offense, I'm gonna keep it short. For total yards, they had 324 total yards on offense. They had 148 passing yards, 176 rushing yards, 22 first downs. They had 4 penalties. They turned the ball over 1 time, and they had 4 sacks. They also dominated the ball for 37.11 minutes of time possession. Justin Fields, what more can you say about this kid that hasn't been said already? He had a pretty good game, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. He was 19 of 27, 175 yards. He averaged 9.2 yards per throw. He had 1 touchdown. That was to Jesse James in the corner of the end zone. Good throw. He had an interception. By the time he threw that interception, the game was over. He took 4 sacks. 2 of those were his fault. 2 of those weren't his fault. He had a quarterback rating of 84.6. Decent game for Justin. His best game of the season, in my opinion. So many plays that just made you go, wow. Where was this the first few games of the season? It kind of seemed like they took the chains off of Justin this week. They let him play a little bit. They were using his legs. They were using his arm a bit more. He had a couple more intermediate throws, a couple more rhythm throws. The option game was perfect today. There was one play that just completely fooled me, where they ran an option with Ryan Nall. Everybody thought Ryan Nall had the ball, including the Fox cameraman. Fields was gone down the sideline. He rushed for 20 yards on that play. The touchdown run that he did have, so he had 2 total touchdowns. The touchdown run that he did have was miraculous. If you haven't seen it, search it up. Search up Justin Fields, it will come up. That's all I'm going to say about it. As far as rushing, Fields led the team in rushing yards. That's a good thing in my opinion. 10 attempts, 103 yards, 10.3 yards per carry. He had that long touchdown run, like I said. Khalil Herbert, he had 23 attempts, 72 yards, 3.1 yards. He was averaging. Khalil Herbert, he got hurt somewhere midway through the 3rd quarter. So Ryan Nall had to come in. Herbert came back, but by that point, the game was probably out of reach. They ran the ball pretty well, in my opinion. They used the run to set up the play action pass, which they used effectively for Justin. They only got 9 yards in the second half, but come on. The 49ers had adjusted by that point. They were looking for the run. That set up play action passes, so rushing was pretty good. Receiving, Darnell Mooney had 9 targets, 6 receptions. He had 64 yards. Jesse James was the 2nd leading receiver. He caught the lone touchdown pass today. He had 38 yards. Goodwin got involved. He had 32 yards. Komet somewhat got involved. He had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 24 yards. Allen Robinson, he had another okay game. He didn't really get open like that, so they couldn't really find him. Receiving is the key part of this team right now. That's the part they're having trouble with. It's, can we get these receivers and tight ends open to where we can run efficient offense? They did that more today because they were running more play action concepts, crosser concepts, where Mooney was going over the middle of the field, where the tight ends were going over the middle of the field. I mean, getting more involved with this offense, the tight ends need to get more involved, and that's what Bill Lazor probably told his team. That's what Chris Tabor probably told his team. That's the scheme they were going for today. Unfortunately, they couldn't do quite enough to get the win. Overall, offense gets a B-. They scored 22 points, but about 3 of those times they scored was by Cairo Santos field goals. They had 2 touchdowns, but it just seemed like they missed so many opportunities in the red zone. They were kicking too many field goals, and that kind of led the 49ers to keep them in the game. you keep any NFL team in the game, they will hurt you. And that kind of plays in part to what the defense did on Sunday. Defense was absolutely atrocious. Look, your corners look scared to tackle. There is no way Elijah Mitchell, who was shut down last week, the San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo, no offense to Garoppolo, but he was shut down last week, passed for over 300 yards on you, and Elijah Mitchell rushed for over 200 yards? Deebo Samuel was open every single play? Where's the tackling? Where's the coverage? The main problem that this Bears defense is having is that the secondary is absolutely atrocious. And when the pass rush isn't on, by the way, we were missing Khalil Mack. When the pass rush isn't on, they get exposed badly. And, I say this for people who question Eddie Jackson's ability. There were plays in that game that wouldn't have happened if Eddie Jackson was in that game. You still fear Eddie Jackson back there because at any moment, he can take a ball and run to the house with it. There were plays where the backup safety, he had a ball right in his hands and he dropped it. DeAndre Houston Carson was your leading tackler. Who was next? Roquan Smith. There were so many missed tackles. They're running the same concept on you. How can nobody fill run gaps? Why is Deebo Samuel still running wide open over the middle of the field with no adjustments whatsoever? Kindle Vildor should not be your number 2 corner. That's just period. I'm not saying anything about Kindle Vildor. He's a very talented player. They liked what they saw from him in camp, but he's not a number 2 corner. Duke Shelley cannot be your nickel corner. They're exploiting those two the most. Jalen Johnson played well, but he had his moments too where he didn't want to tackle. How do you give up a 30-yard screen pass on 3rd and 20 when you know a screen pass or a draw is going to be coming, and you give up a 30-yard, which should have been a touchdown pass, which led to points? And then you can't tackle. They're pushing you into the end zone because you can't tackle. Look, Sean Desai has to do something about this defense. You have to tell them to wrap up. Overall, defense played horrible. They get an F-. Look, there's nothing you can take from this that's good. They played bad. I felt like they got out-hustled. Akeem Hicks was running in the secondary making tackles. He seemed to have more effort than the entire secondary making tackles that entire game. No excuses for that. That's an F. That's an immediate F. Defense played horrible. Special teams not going to waste too much time with this. Jakeem Grant, what else can you say about him? He's the kick returner of this team. He's pretty good. Takes kicks that normally you wouldn't advise. But since he's so good at returning kicks, he had 156 kick return yards. He averaged 26 yards on returns. It seemed like he finds the holes on special teams easily, and he puts them in good field position. They just need to capitalize on it. Cairo Santos, he had 3 field goals, like I said before. He missed the clutch extra point after that bomb touchdown run by Justin Fields. Can't really fault him for that since the snap was bad. He had made 38 consecutive field goals and extra points combined. That's a good kicker. He's still worth the money. Special teams, they get a B+. Only because he missed that extra point. Coaching, play calling, I thought Chris Tabor and Bill Lazor, they did a very good job on offense. There were some plays that, made you scratch your head a little bit, like the 3rd down screen in the red zone. But I think they showed what they could do with Justin Fields when they let him play. Matt Nagy obviously was out with COVID, but, I wouldn't say it wasn't a good look, but it inspired, it's going to make you think a little bit on, why weren't we doing this early in the season? He looks so much better under Tabor and Lazor than he does under Nagy. That's just facts. Next week, I expect Nagy to be back, and look, I'm telling you right now, if they run the same scheme they have for the last 5 games, there's going to be a problem. But overall, the coaching gets a C because Sean Desai had a horrible game. I don't blame him too much because he's working with whatever the Bears gave him with the secondary and all that. But still, you're the defensive coordinator. You don't have any QB pressures on Garoppolo. You don't have any QB hits on Garoppolo. You didn't draw one blitz to get to Garoppolo. I mean, you have to take some of the fault there too, Josiah. So, a C-. That's okay for play calling, only because the offense looked like they played their best game in the season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But before I go, I have an exciting announcement to make. At the end of this month, I'm gonna be giving away a free $50 Amazon gift card to one lucky subscriber. So you're probably asking me, how do I get in on this giveaway? Well, all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you comment, because I will be choosing a random subscriber, random commenter, random subscriber for the winner of this giveaway. I will email you the code, so be looking out for that at the end of the month. Overall, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, like I said. Follow me on social media. Make sure you share this video with your friends. And make sure they get in on the giveaway. And I'm out. Peace.